What's up, everybody? Brian Engelman here on the TNAM Daily Show, brought to you by the New American Media. We'll be live in just a moment. Settle in. Doors are now open to the bar. Come on in. Make yourself at home. And we're going to start talking about the news in just a moment. If you're watching after the fact, forward ahead just a little bit. Just a couple minutes. Thanks. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Let's get the party started, shall we? Let's do it. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Tehran. Very far away. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Thursday, April 9, 2026. And this right here, the thing that you are watching, is called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM is the new American media. On today's show, is World War III incoming? Or did the president of peace strike again? And Iryna Zarutska has been failed once more by North Carolina. You won't believe what they ruled in the case of her murderer. So we're going to unpack all those stories and more. So hit the thumbs up button, however you're watching right now. Hit the like button. Share the show out on X, on Facebook. Text a couple friends. And we're going to get into the news here on the TNAM Daily Show. It starts right now.
Guide to the truth. The new AmericanMedia.com.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. Make sure we hit the thumbs up button on the program. And let's get into the show. Let's go ahead and pull your comments up on the screen. See who has jumped in to the program with chat. We got Trash Panda. Kenneth, what's up, everybody? Oops, no ads. Yeah, I wonder why that is. That's because I forgot. So please feel free to hit the refresh button. Doggone it. Yeah, it's just doing a lot of juggling. That button did not get pressed. You're right. So if y'all could press that button, the refresh button, I'll be here. And you can just play the show time and a half until we get caught up. If you're willing to be awesome like that. Let's see. How do I get the comments loading? They're not loading. Are your comments not loading? I see the box. Okay. Now comments are coming up? I know. Seriously, Jamie, get your act together. Damn, Jamie. Damn, Gina. That was from Martin. All right. Let's get into the program. World War III. How concerned were you about the end of a civilization? And it probably will happen unless we're able to reach an agreement. But luckily, The regime has been changed to people with much better ideas. That was President Trump painting a worst case scenario so we can avoid it. It wasn't a nuclear threat. It sort of was, this shouldn't be any worse than it needs to be. But man, oh man, did the Panicans go bonkers over that post. And of course, now the complaint is that Israel is attacking. They're not attacking Iran because that ceasefire is holding. But they're attacking a neighbor because there's terrorist cells there. Hezbollah, I believe. And if Iran has a problem with them attacking down there, it's an admission that they're the ones funding Hezbollah. So what do you make of it? Is Israel a problem? Are they a dog that you have on a leash and they're getting out of control and they're getting you into trouble? Extending that leash and bombing the hell out of some neighbors? Or was that the plan all along? Because the terrorist funding group of Iran has their proxies. Hamas, Hezbollah, this, that, the other, all over the place. Don't know. But it's fair to have the conversation. Are we being dragged around by a leash ourselves? Or are we the ones doing the dragging? Did I say that right? You get my point. Okay, Lake Leon, third refresh, and he got ads this time. Excellent. Thank you for the update. Good. Glad it's working. Yeah, I did not have that button depressed. I just had a conversation, and part of the reason I had to take a meeting this morning that ran a little longer than I anticipated. It was a necessary meeting. But I had that conversation about there's no reason why I should have to keep pressing the same button. Just like Restream, I shouldn't have to change all the settings every single show. Just leave it where it is. Don't revert it back to some other, just leave it where it is. If I say I want my shows to be monetized, just leave them. It's just something that needs to be remembered. But that is the fun of running the show. Is it not? It is. All right, let's take a look on X, see what's going on. Of course, the link to our Patreon is right there at the top. If you're the Patreon kind of type. And check out yesterday's show about the Commander-in-Chief Trump didn't nuke Iran. Sorry, Panicans. That was never the plan. Because it was not. All right, let's check in with President Trump. Nick Sorter reporting. And I think let's just let President Trump explain what's going on.
As you probably know, we didn't talk about the first one for an hour. Then somebody leaked something, which we'll hopefully find that leaker. We're looking very hard to find that leaker. And talked about there's somebody missing. They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information.
And we might have covered this before, but it bears repeating. Where does media end and treason begin?
So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail. And we know who, and you know who we're talking about, because some things you can't do, because when they did that, all of a sudden, the entire country of Iran knew that there was a pilot that was somewhere on their land that was fighting for his life. And it also made it much more difficult for the pilots and for the people going in to search for him. All of a sudden, they know that there's somebody out there. They see all these planes coming in. It became a much more difficult operation because a leaker leaked that we have one, we've rescued one, but there's another one out there that we're trying to get. So actually, the country, Iran, put out a major notice, you all saw it, offering a very big award for anybody that captures the pilot. So in addition to a hostile, very talented, very good, very evil military, we had millions of people trying to get an award.
So stay tuned. Nick says, great, no mercy to traitors. Now arrest the one who leaked F-15 rescue info to Israeli media. All right, well, let's work our way backward on this story. This is, you of course remember Iryna Zarutska. It pretty much broke all of us watching this. In North Carolina, murdered by DeCarlos Brown. Remember how radicalizing this was? How unnecessary this was? How rage-inducing this was? This happened, this video came out just days before Charlie Kirk, and man, oh man, did this incident change me. This beautiful young woman, innocent of all things. Ukrainian, by the way. Refugee. Executed on the bus by a racist crazy guy. Someone who had been arrested in and out of jail a million times. Let's just say a chronic criminal that should have been behind bars permanently, not right in the head. Competent for all of these incidents when people knew this is a dude that does not belong in general population. He doesn't play well with others. But no. Executed on the bus from behind. And now, sadly, there's an update. Let's go ahead and look at all these previous arrests. You see them on the screen there? I gotta pull the chat off. Over and over and over and over and over and over again. And over and over and over and over and over and over again. That many arrests. "14 prior arrests." There he's talking to himself. I got that white girl. I got that white girl. Trying to find you the original post. That gives you the overview. There's so many different angles here, but I'm looking for the one that just tells you he's been ruled incompetent to stand trial. Matt Van Swole says DeCarlos Brown should be hanged on the White House lawn and it should be live streamed on every single public network. We should put the fear of God into every single would-be murderer and would-be soft-on-crime judge. My empathy has run out. I want justice. DeCarlos Brown, C3 says, was ruled capable of standing trial for his crimes, then capable, and then capable, and then capable, and then capable. But now at number 15, where he murders Iryna Zarutska, he's been ruled incapable to stand trial. What a miscarriage of justice. Sickening. This Adam Smith post from All American News reminds us this quote, "Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent." That from Adam Smith. Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. Mrs. Jazz says the judges should be charged as accessories and disbarred. Otherwise, this will continue. It's actually meant to cause racial divides and encourage more crime. It says if bartenders can go to jail for over-serving a drunk person who drives, then judges should go to jail for criminals they released who killed someone. Our criminal justice system is out of control. Here's the new sign when you're driving into North Carolina. Welcome to North Carolina. We hope you don't die. Sabrina says the absolute last place I would move is Charlotte, North Carolina. Not only isn't it safe, not only it isn't safe, but they let the killers back on the streets to prey on innocent people like Iryna over and over again. Iryna's killer deserves the death penalty or life in prison. No excuses. Daily Caller says, lovely Iryna is a silent sacrifice at the altar of deranged liberal empathy. Just ask people straight up, should this guy be hung on pay-per-view or not? And if not, you do mean life in prison immediately, right? There are some people out there that have deranged liberal empathy. Mercy for the wicked is deadly to society. Democrats own this. Kevin Johnson said, do you want vigilantism? Because this is how you get vigilantism. Note, this is not a sales pitch for vigilantism. I can tell you that warmer temperatures in the air will mean that the pond or swimming pool will be warmer quicker. That's not an endorsement of warmer water. I'm just telling you the weather. I'm your daily weatherman. So yeah, this story is just atrocious. Another man accused of abducting a sleeping Dallas boy from his bed and K-ing him. This demon, this little angel from the Dallas Morning News, found incompetent for trial. How about this one from KARE 11? A teen accused of shooting a man in the head was found incompetent to stand trial, then let go. He's now charged with shooting another man in the head. You have got to flee blue cities and flee blue states. Although I don't know where KARE 11 is. Let's check. Twin Cities, Minneapolis. All right, well, super surprising. What? This story, someone low IQ and a lack of adaptive functioning and suffers from stress and anxiety. As a consequence, she did not act consciously when firing the gun. She was unaware of what was going on. San Francisco Public Safety News, mistrial. I don't know about this story, but as it's reported, two blacks rob and murder a gay white man in Twin Peaks, San Francisco, and got a mistrial because they argued the shooter has a low IQ and was high on opioids. They even stipulated they shot the man. A district judge in California called IQ tests racially and culturally biased and discriminatory. Ordered a permanent ban on IQ testing of black students across California for purposes of special education placement. Okay. Well, there's many such cases. A new euphemism has dropped. Incompetent for trial, I think was the gist of that. You're seeing that work its way through our criminal court system. If you're incompetent to stand trial, shouldn't that mean you're automatically remanded for life in a detention facility? You shouldn't win your freedom. I know, Kenneth, you're from Minneapolis. That is Minnesota. Beautiful state, ruined by left-wing idiots. It's a shame. It shouldn't be this way. But sadly, let's check in with some other Democrats. Democrats in Georgia, who's running for office, says Trump voters, well, listen to her in her own words.
When this is all over and Trump is gone and Democrats are back in charge and we're rebuilding everything, the punishment for MAGA for voting Trump 3 times needs to be that they lose their internet access for 4 years, that they cannot post videos or comments on social media for 4 straight years, so that none of us are subjected to their lies and misinformation while we are rebuilding the chaos that they caused. The whole world and America gets to be without their BS online for 4 straight years. Can we all agree to this? When this is all over and Trump is gone and Democrats are back in charge.
You can have your complaints to the Republican Party while also recognizing you must completely destroy and dismantle the Democrat Party. Believe them when they tell you who they are. Yeah, well, you defended President Trump and what he said. He said all things at once. Sending love to the Iranian people. And talking about an end of civilization. Open the effing straight. Painting the picture of destruction or a thriving society. Well, let's check in with another one. Today's episode is basically about finding out what you're up against. The panicking said, oh, President Trump's calling World War III. He's going to use nuclear bombs against Iran. I can't believe he'd even say that. And because he'd even say that, he's just lost forever. And we're going to get so much blowback. And we're going to get attacked by 1 million terrorists. Or we're shutting that shit down. Who's we? We're not on his team. He's acting rogue. It's the commander-in-chief. It's the head coach of the football team we root for. How else do you want me to say it? We're sort of in this together. We're on the boat that he is captaining. Yeah, that's why we should probably have a 25th Amendment to get him down as captain. He's reckless. He's reckless, I tells you. Well, let's wait and see. Maybe so, maybe not. But let's check in on the people who listen to the story of downed U.S. airmen. And maybe instead of rooting for their return, their safe return, you got people like this.
When you're at war with somebody, guess what that other country does? Exactly what they've been doing through history all this time, right? You take them hostage and you use them for leverage. So guess what Iran did? They put a bounty out on his head, and whoever finds him gets a great award. I can't wait. Hopefully it's like money or jewels. I hope the person who finds him is very poor and ends up being very wealthy. And I hope Iran holds their promise. When you're...
Wow. Green Apple Pantry, committed to fostering a welcome, respectful, inclusive environment for neighbors, staff, and broader community. The views expressed by a former employee's social media posts are solely those of the individual and do not reflect the beliefs, principles, or mission from the Green Apple Pantry. We have zero tolerance for hateful or discriminatory behavior in any form. We remain dedicated to serving our community with integrity, respect, and care. We appreciate your continued support and trust. The leftist Michigan woman making a video celebrating the possible capture and death of a downed U.S. airman has been fired. Sherry Unfiltered says, I hope she seeks help for her mental issues. This is a story, I guess. There's no link to an original article that I can see. So we'll file this under fan fiction, but this is what a lot of you have been asking for, hoping for, waiting for, demanding. Here's some fan fiction or some theories. Maybe it's confirmed. I didn't quite see that, but Sherry says FBI Director Kash Patel reportedly gearing up to drop the hammer. Formal federal criminal charges against disgraced former President Barack Obama and dozens of his co-conspirators. Let's see what Grok says about this. Federal grand jury in Southern District, Florida, already being impaneled to hear testimony, with indictments expected to start raining down by early May at the latest. Over 30 former Obama administration officials said to be flipping and cooperating with the feds to build the case against Barack Hussein Obama. Okay, Grok didn't give me. Is any of this confirmed or debunked? Eileen Cannon, rumored to be the judge presiding over the historic RICO case. No, the claims are not confirmed, remaining unverified, speculation, often labeled as hyper rumor in fact checks and community notes. No official statements from Kash or DOJ. Now, that doesn't mean that it might not happen. This is unverified. And I will post that per Grok. And I'll probably request community note. I wish it would let me explain what the request is about. Just put a note that this is speculation so far, unconfirmed. Doesn't mean it's untrue. My lack of evidence doesn't make it false. But consider that to be fan fiction if you hear that story for now. So Alexis McAdams is talking with this ICE chief here about Democrat Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, what she did and what comes next.
When you talk to the governor talks about what's going on in her state. She says Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, but Boston's a sanctuary city. Do you think that the state is operating like a sanctuary state at this point?
100%. And that's one of the frustrating things for us. And what I'd say for the governor's office is we've had individual law enforcement agencies and state agencies reach out and say, hey, we want to turn this individual over to you. They're wanted for murder in El Salvador. So how is, or like the sex offenders you saw today, they're already known registered sex offenders on the Massachusetts probation rolls. Why would you not turn someone over that's been previously deported? To me, that just makes no sense. And again, like the person we arrested that was living across the street from a playground. So you have a deported sex offender that the state knew about living across the street from a playground.
When you talk to the governor talks about what's going on in her state. She says Massachusetts is not.
You just assume that things are being taken care of. That doesn't make it true. Sometimes we are definitely not as safe as we think we are, living right across from a school, a playground. Ontario, California, what's this report? "29-year-old Shamil Abdul Kareem live streamed himself committing arson at a warehouse where he worked."
You know, we may not get paid enough to fucking live, but these bitches dirt cheap. All you had to do was pay us enough to live. All you had to do was pay us enough to fucking live. All you had to do was pay us enough to live.
Oh my God.
That is bad. Oh my God, ojalá todos se salieron.
Yes.
Oh, dude. Look how big that is.
All right. Is this a true story? Just assume nothing I'm watching is real. Arrested on felony arson charges, held without bail after the fire caused major destruction, thick smoke over nearby areas, job losses for co-workers despite not directly targeting Kimberly-Clark as their direct employer. Kimberly-Clark Distribution Warehouse in Ontario, California. NFI Industries. 1.2 million square foot facility. Wow. So today's show is just a reminder that there's that type of people out there. So don't let your guard down. Matt Van Swole says, I have truly awful news. The U.S. Marine who was stabbed in Wilmington, North Carolina, 21-year-old Daniel Montano with the 2nd Marine Division based at Camp Lejeune, has sadly passed away from his injuries at the hospital. Police are searching. How awful.
What's up? What's up? You want some more?
I've been like right in the spine, right in the...
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Hey,
Oh my god!
hey,
Oh my
come
god!
here.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wait.
Dude, Caden!
Is that your spine?
What's up?
No, that was a different...
Oh my god! Oh my god!
He's gushing, man. Yes.
Oh my god! Oh my god, dude! Are you serious? Are you serious? Dude!
So they're looking for a suspect.
Dude!
Down there at the bottom, this person. If you know who this is that wears that jacket, turn them in. Awful. Man, today's show is really just about the awful people out there. It seems like the Cali fire codes for sprinkler system didn't work very well. It is a good point. I'm somewhat familiar with I was going to say irrigation, sprinkler systems and safety protocols. Why wouldn't that have triggered the sprinklers? That is a great point, David. Well, this is awful. How much of this? Let's just play this clip. FedEx driver accused of abducting and strangling a 7-year-old girl. He's in court.
Okay, so what we can do.
Ugh. A not compelling video. Oh boy. He puts his face in his hand as a photo is displayed of him driving her to her death. 7-year-old Athena Strand was seen standing behind Tanner Horner in his FedEx truck. Athena was allegedly snatched by Horner when he was delivering a Barbie doll to her home in Paradise, Texas. Horner initially claimed that he accidentally hit the girl with the truck before panicking and pulling her into the vehicle. He then said he strangled her in the vehicle and dumped the body 7 miles from the home. The photo, however, shows that Athena was alert in the truck and did not appear to have been struck by the truck. Wise County District Attorney James Stainton says the jury will see footage on the day of the killing depicting the moment Athena was strangled to death. Oh, God. Somebody covered up the camera because they don't want you to see. Guess what? Audio is still running, and you're going to hear it. You're going to hear what a 250-pound man can do to a 67-pound child, he said. And when I say it's horrible, I mean it. I've been doing this for 25 years, and I promise you, buckle up. Horner qualifies for the death penalty. Is there anything good in the news today? It's all just like, here's a bunch of terrible stuff that's been happening. I guess TNAM preparedness, be prepared. Have a game plan. Be prepared. Wow. Yeah, Matt Van Swole gave us this update. This was toward the end of yesterday's program. Oh my gosh, the man who emmed Iryna Zarutska on the light rail in Charlotte, DeCarlos Brown Jr., has just been found incapable to proceed on the state murder charge brought against him. What the hell? We need justice for Iryna Zarutska. This guy needs to be gone for the rest of his life, and maybe that should be pretty quick. Let's check in on our schools, talking about being prepared and awful stuff out there. Here's Isabel Brown talking about teenagers sharing photos of their AP U.S. government textbooks. Get a load of this.
Doing a wellness check on the teenagers in high school right now, because what is this? Doing a wellness check on the teenagers in high school right now, because what is this? Someone sent their AP government textbook to Carol Markowitz, their cousin, to show them the political ideology grid that they are currently teaching in American high schools. Guys, I have so many questions. Apparently the only person in American politics who is economic right and more libertarian is Ron Paul, who is like barely libertarian. Hillary Clinton and George W. Bush are the same dot because they have the same exact political ideology. What? And they both are more authoritarian than Fidel Castro. Apparently, Obama is a right-wing authoritarian in 2008. And he becomes more right-wing economically and more authoritarian by 2012, closely mirroring the political ideology of Maggie Thatcher.
Yeah, when I think about Obama, I think about Maggie Thatcher. Oh, this should be where I end today. This is a great highlight. You know, well, it's in a book. It's got to be true. Well, it's on the internet. I saw it on X. Don't believe anything you see or read. Always do some double checking. We've shared some stuff. Yeah, well, you didn't provide context. You didn't put a comment on it. So how do I know if you're for it or against it? That's for you to decide. Watch the show and you'll watch me not peddle this being fact or this being debunked. A lot of it's just, hey, here's what people are talking about. We try to do some rudimentary fact checking. We debunk plenty. If there's anything we miss, tell us. We're never hiding it. I know. So that dude gets to remain in the streets. Not the FedEx. He's remanded, I believe. He damn well better be. Do they allow drowning for the death penalty? I mean, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Yeah, Obama 2012 is almost just like Maggie Thatcher. That is, and similar to Hitler. Trump and Hitler are on the same line.
And of course, Ted Cruz, who is far more authoritarian, by the way, than Fidel Castro. And pretty much on the exact same line. It looks like he's more authoritarian than Joseph Stalin over there. Donald Trump is on par, of course, with Hitler. Bernie Sanders is barely economic left. Nelson Mandela is a libertarian. What? I don't even know what to do with this. The textbook in question, your college level American government course, your AP course offered to high schoolers in America today. And justice for George W. Bush having to share a dot with Hillary Clinton.
You dot sharing fool. That's a good one. I should end there, but let's finish. History with Jacob says on this day. Oh, by the way, if anyone wants to toss something in the tip jar, let me put those out. Scrolling at the bottom of the screen, Rumble rants and super chat tips. You can sign up to be a monthly supporter on Rumble, YouTube, and Patreon. If you want to shoot something over on Venmo or Cash App, that's just my name, Brian Engelman. And on PayPal, that's fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out and going through the news. History with Jacob said on this day in 1895, the Supreme Court ruled income tax to be unconstitutional. So then 18 years later, the ruling was tragically superseded by the passage of the 16th Amendment. Oh, they wanted to make sure they could reach into the pockets and take. Could you imagine life without income tax? NASA shares this. Following a successful lunar flyby, the Artemis 2 astronauts captured this breathtaking photo of our galaxy, the Milky Way, on April 7. 2026, as with every illuminated NASA photo. Let's ask you in the comments, do you agree that this is real, or do you disagree that this is a real image? The affirmative statement, I agree that this is a factual, literal image, or I disagree that this is an actual NASA Artemis 2 image. Tell me in the comments. All right. Okay. I think I might have covered this at the end of yesterday's show. Trump is shattering the axis of evil between the City of London, the Vatican, the uniparty elite in D.C., who form an unholy alliance for half a century. Rejoice in it because you're about to be handed a whole new world. If you can take it, says Mike Barra. Mike, from our Strictly Football show, we got to do our draft show. Get ready for it real soon here. Strictly Football, myself, Mike Barra, Jim Mitchell, Ezrael Robinson. Yeah, I might have shared this one yesterday. And yes, alien disclosure odds skyrocketing after several cryptic statements from Representative Burchett. 17% chance U.S. confirms aliens exist this year, according to Polymarket. And that is what I wanted to share with you today. Let's see what's breaking. Catholic Iryna says Pope Leo the 14th met today with former Obama strategist David Axelrod. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Augusta National, active. The Masters are happening. Sam Roberts says having Pat McAfee, Jason Kelsey, Burt Kreischer, and Kevin Hart at the Masters is the epitome of ESPN's cultural degradation of sports. Augusta National should be the ultimate place of dignity and reverence, and these ignominious, notorious, ignominious dullards debase it with their sophomorish hijinks. Hotong Lee just dropped an F-bomb while taking a photo with Kevin Hart. It's a par 3 contest. Only 300 members of Augusta National Golf Club. Warren Buffett is one, says Trung Fan. Doesn't go to many Masters, says it's the highest handicap member. At the course, his best round is 89. Bill Gates is another member, and Buffett lost 5,500 when Gates hit a hole-in-one. The Masters is here. Man in Sarasota, Florida, tells conservative journalist Caitlin Bennett that Trump supporters, particularly women, should be punched in backtracks upon realizing he's being recorded. Oh. Yeah, this is why it's good to be out there interviewing people.
So how many have you punched in your lifetime?
It's kind of a new phenomenon, really.
Okay.
Nazis walking around in the street, so
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. And how would we spot a Nazi walking down the street today? How would we know if someone's a Nazi?
Usually they have a red hat on.
Okay. So Trump supporters?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you think that we should be punching them?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you justify violence against Trump supporters?
I don't know.
Well, I'll give you like 10 seconds to think about it because I would love to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Do you think that we should be justifying violence against a certain group of people? Do you see his sign?
Black or brown people, you mean?
Well, I don't see, I've never seen a Trump supporter hold a sign that says punch a brown person. I've never seen that.
So are you identifying as a Nazi?
No, I don't identify as a Nazi.
I'm
no.
confused.
Do you identify as a Nazi?
No, I am anti-fascist, actually.
Well, I am a Trump supporter. And I do have a red hat and I wear it. I actually have a red sparkly jacket that says Trump, MAGA on it. Would you advocate for people to punch me?
Maybe.
That is insane.
Maybe.
You agree with violence against women for their political opinion?
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You sure did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, she's got her security with her. When I was out in Chicago for the Democrat convention, I didn't do a ton of this because you could see the type of people that were in the crowd and you could see just how coordinated everything was. They have their mobs, they have their group leaders. They're very organized at doing these large events. So you do need a security person with you. You need a separate camera person. You like maybe not need, but it'd probably be well advised because these violent people, they tell you who they are. Tells conservative journalist Caitlin Bennett, Trump supporters, specifically women, should be punched before quickly backtracking after realizing he's being recorded. Wonder where this guy works. Yeah, let's find his boss. This needs to happen. Representative Nancy Mace calls for the impeachment of corrupt judges. To fix the system, says C3, judges must be impeached, criminals must be punished, and politicians must be investigated. Simple. Nayib Bukele reminds us, he says, if you do not impeach the corrupt judges, you cannot fix the country. They will form a cartel, a judicial dictatorship, and block all reforms, protecting the systemic corruption that put them in their seats. I agree. Marion says, question of the day, I agree, that is a real NASA image. David disagrees that that's a real image of space. By the way, thank you so much for responding in actual sentences, because it's been 10 minutes since I got back to the comments, and now I know what we're talking about. In this case, I probably would have easily been able to figure it out, but I appreciate, like, this is how you leave a comment. We have the smartest, a lot of people say, they said, the best regulars in all of podcasting. They're gonna tell it like it is, but also reset the entire sentence. So even a nincompoop like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris could understand it. Yeah. Kenneth calls that image the image of a Lord sneeze. There we go. Wait, what's my giraffe show? I don't know what that is. I know. I was ready to wrap the show, but it's like, let's see what else is trending. Let's give you a couple last nuggets over here. In space, no one can hear you sneeze. Yeah. And that's exactly why the Bears are leaving Chicago. Yeah, flee blue cities. But you gotta, oh yeah, I think they are fleeing the state, right? They're going from Illinois to, isn't it in Indiana, maybe? Is that what it is? Is it a NASA image or a Getty image? Good question. Lake Leon. Well, yes, Brian, I do agree about the question approximately 15 minutes ago that, yes, I agree that is a real picture of the Milky Way. It was a clear black night, a bright blue moon. Me and Warren G trying to consume. Yeah, next time I want everyone to reply to a question of the day in full paragraph form. Regarding your query to the peanut gallery, to the regulars on the other side of the bar, bartender Brian asked, here's the question of the day. Tell me, who are the 4 best political leaders of your lifetime? Go. Question of the day. 4 best political leaders. Give me 4 to put on your Mount Rushmore. Quick. First 4 that come to mind of your lifetime. Give me the 4 political leaders that you think would be the best. That have done the best job in your lifetime. 111, by the way. Ah, yes, the draft show. Well, by the way, I'm hearing rumors that there's going to be a military draft, too. We're going to do the strictly football draft show. I wonder if we're going to do a mock draft. I'm probably going to be live if I can. during the NFL draft. I'll be live if I can. That is my game plan. God, that's only like 2 weeks away, isn't it? Excited. Top 4 political leaders of her lifetime. Marion says Trump. Mount Trump. Yeah. I mean, there have been some interesting ones. I think Ross Perot got the ball moving in the right direction. Although it ultimately did cost us Bill Clinton. I think, there's a lot of caveat candidates. Jesse Ventura got the ball moving for a little bit of outsider stuff. Of course, he's fairly off the deep end in quite a few issues. But I think all those things paved the way for someone like President Trump to get into office. Even, dare I say it, Jesse Jackson just being a bit of an outsider, an inside outsider. His sort of outside, I don't know, I never really thought he was, maybe my history is failing me, but I never really considered him as a Democrat Party standard bearer. But he was somebody that was kind of making waves on his own. But yeah, all that stuff was probably necessary to pave the way for President Trump. Stop cracking my knuckles. I have thought about this. I have thought about how many times I'm doing a show and I just crack, pop, crack, snap. Brrr. I know, I need to hit the mute button. Okay, I'll keep that in mind for next time. I know, a lot of people have bailed on Jesse. Wait, is that Jesse Jackson or Jesse Ventura? See, that's where a more robust comment from the peanut gallery, from the regular crew, from the stands, from the front row, from courtside tickets. There you go. But that was a trick because I threw 2 Jessies at you. And what's another famous Jesse? Jesse James. Anyway, Bukele says if you don't impeach the corrupt judges, you can't fix the country. They'll form a cartel, a judicial dictatorship, and block all reforms, protecting their systemic corruption that put them in their seats. And that is what I wanted to share with you today. Yes, Jesse Ventura. Like I said, that was a trick question. That just happened organically. All right, I'm forgiven for cracking my knuckles today anyway. All right, I'll try. I can still crack my neck by doing this, right? I prefer to do that. I know I shouldn't be cracking my knuckles. But we'll get to that later. I know. I know I shouldn't be doing that. I'll work on it. I will try to stop doing that somewhat. No specific promises, but I'll try. Anyway, if there's any stories you think that we missed, tag us on X at American_media_. Stay connected to the New American Media in all of the places. And once again, just a friendly reminder, Rumble rant tips, super chat tips if you like the program and want to help assist us in our endeavors. They're always appreciated. So, how much time do I want to spend on World War III? Not a lot, because I don't think that's the intention. Well, what if Iran launches a nuke? Aha! If they do, then it'll prove that it wasn't just saber rattling by Hillary Clinton and Lindsey Graham, both Republicans and Democrats for decades, along with Israel and Bibi, saying Israel's going to get a nuke. Oh, it's a boogeyman. Every day it's the same story. Free crab tomorrow. Iran might get a nuke. Oh, please. So if they do use a nuke, it's going to show, hey, look, they were right. And if they don't, you say, well, good. Glad they never did. And is that exactly the same as the Salem witch trials? Well, let's wrap Goody Goodwife here to some cinder blocks, some heavy stones, and toss her into the lake. Why, if she's a witch, she'll just squirm out of that and fly out of there. And if she's not, then she shall drown. Okay, well, that's fine if she drowns as a witch, but you're saying she's going to escape if she's a witch, but if she drowns, that means she's not a witch. Well, then she'll go to a good to a fine Christian death. And you go, no. That's not how we do that. So if Iran launches a nuke, haha, proved you right. If they don't, haha, proved you wrong. And they are going to go and excavate all of that uranium out of that hole. I wonder, is that going to link back to Uranium One? Is that going to link back to the Clintons? Will that go back to the Obama cache? The pallets of cash? We shall see. That could be collecting evidence. No, I'm not worried about World War III because Iran is the neighbor that nobody likes. And all they've been doing is selling shit on the black market, making China rich to undercut United States products industry. Exporting terrorism all over the place. You don't need to love Israel to be happy that Iranian leadership is under new management. Are we necessarily going to get into the same type of problems we saw in Afghanistan and Iraq? You know what? We don't know because the whole Trump term number one, he didn't get into a lot of that. And that's pretty much one of the best selling points he had. However, he is the commander-in-chief, and he does get to make that determination. And once those bunker-busting bombs occurred, this was the chance. Right or wrong, this is the time to change leadership when they've been weakened. Otherwise, you risk giving them the chance to build these programs back up, and you're right back in the same scenario you were before. Right or wrong, it does appear to be the prudent military strategy. I wasn't very concerned about World War III. So, not that concerned, but you know, it's right to call out to calm tensions down. But the whole time I read the context and the subtle and not so subtle to me. It was basically like, hey, maybe something miraculous will happen and we'll be able to work our way out of this. Like, he already had agreed to that. It was already the plan. It was already done. Yeah, but he said it. And you can't unsay it. And there's going to be so many problems. I don't know. Maybe so, maybe not. Why is this the thing that you're glomming onto to make the most important issue for you right now? Most important issue is achieving military objectives and ending this thing if you can, by force or by compromise, by agreement or by power. I didn't have Iran on the bingo card, but are we worse off without Maduro? No, I'd say we're better off without Maduro. I didn't have that on my bingo card. If you go back through the whole list of Republican nominees, how far back do you want to go? I mean, Jeb Bush, John Boehner, Mitt Romney, John McCain, George W. Bush. I mean, is it possible that it might make sense to trust the commander-in-chief, President Trump, to recalibrate and reset some global stuff with global tariffs and with direct engagement with terrorist hostile forces that butchered 46 Americans about 2 years ago? The commander-in-chief who's been pretty straightforward on how to handle Iran for about half a century. Sorry, I'm just not buying the concept that Benjamin Netanyahu grabbed him by the balls and led him into this. Trump hasn't done a super big 180 on dealing with Iran and how they only understand force and how it's unacceptable what they did with their hostages under Jimmy Carter, what they did bombing with all their proxies. More than 1,000 deaths attributed to the Iranian National Guard, or Iranian Republic, IRGC, Guard Corps, ICRG. Hang on, what's it called? IRGC. Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. So what else are we supposed to do? It's not like there's a lot of other options out there. No, I'm not interested in 25th-ing President Trump to put a J.D. Vance in charge. Marco Rubio, what? Would he slide up to VP? I don't know. No thanks. Let's see how it plays out. I guess a couple of Trump posts in a vacuum. When you're rich, they'll let you just grab them by the pussy, he said, right? And you go, oh my. Can you believe Trump does that? He does that. He does that, you know. We got to be against him and against that. Inelegant comments versus policy. So we'll see how it shakes out with Israel continuing to attack. What was it, Lebanon? But now I believe they've dialed it back and said, okay. But I've whether it was the 12-day war, President Trump said they don't know what the hell they're doing. But I think it's worse. I think they do know. I think they know right at the end, right before. It's almost, I said it's like a prize fight. And when the bell goes off, they take several extra punches. It's really unfair. It seems to be a track record with Israel. And how long does America need to stay completely on the same page with whatever Israel's doing versus stepping back and going, hey, you do you, boo. I don't want to be this closely linked to this stuff. And by the way, good luck getting some help from the European Union because they didn't help me. The EU won't even stand up and help when we could use some assistance. What good are they? So I'm willing to just sit back and watch this play out. I'm not going to head for the hills like my hair's on fire. And I suggest you do the same. I suggest you connect with the New American Media in all the places and come back again tomorrow at noon so we can find out what people are talking about. So on behalf of Kenneth and John and David, Marion, all sorts of people in the chat, and the lurkers who hang out but don't comment. I know you hang out. Thank you for hanging out. On behalf of all of you, everybody watching out there in the TNAM universe, I appreciate you. I love you. I'll be back again tomorrow at noon, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.